If a man in a lab coat told you to press a button that delivered a lethal electric shock to a stranger in the next room, would you do it? Most of us would say never. We believe we are good people. We believe we have a moral compass that would stop us from committing murder in the name of science. But in 1961, at Yale University, a psychologist named Stanley Milgram proved that our self-image is a lie. This experiment wasn't just about shocks. It was a terrifying look into the human soul. It revealed a hidden glitch in our psychology that allows ordinary, good people to become agents of destruction. Today, we're going deep into the Milgram experiment to answer the most haunting question in psychology: why do we obey? The year is 1961. The world is still reeling from the horrors of the Holocaust. At the Nuremberg trials, the defense from Nazi war criminals was always the same: I was only following orders. Stanley Milgram wanted to know, was that just a convenient excuse? Or could anyone be pushed to do the unthinkable? Here was the setup. Two people show up for a study on memory. One is assigned to be the teacher, the other, the learner. But there was a catch. The learner was actually an actor. The only real subject was the teacher. The teacher watched as the learner was strapped into an electric chair. Every time the learner got a word pair wrong, the teacher had to deliver a shock. The shock started at 15 volts, a tiny tingle, but they ended at 450 volts. Marked clearly with 3 red letters: X, X, X. As experiment progressed, the learner began to fail, deliberately. At 75 volts, he grunted. At 150 volts, he shouted that his heart was bothering him. At 300 volts, he was screaming, pounding on the wall, begging to be let out. And then, silence. Most teachers turned to the experimenter, terrified. They asked, "Should I stop? Is he okay?" This is where the psychological trap was set. The experimenter, dressed in a gray lab coat, would respond with one of 4 primes. Please continue. The experiment requires that you continue. It is absolutely essential that you continue. You have no other choice. You must go on. Before the study, Milgram asked 40 psychiatrists what percentage of people would go to the very end, the full 450 volts. They predicted only 1%. They thought only true sadists would do it. The reality, 65%. These weren't bad people. They were grocers, engineers, and teachers. They weren't enjoying it. Many were trembling, stuttering, and digging their fingernails into their palms. Some even had fits of nervous laughter. They were in agony, yet they didn't stop. Milgram called this the agentic state. It's a mental shift where you stop seeing yourself as a person responsible for your own actions. Instead, you see yourself as an agent of an authority figure. You shift the blame to the man in the lab coat. Milgram later proved that obedience isn't fixed. If the experimenter gave orders by phone instead of in person, obedience dropped. If the teacher had to physically force the learner's hand onto the shock plate, it dropped even more. The lesson is clear. Distance creates indifference. We see this today. It's easier to follow a harmful corporate order when you're behind a screen. It's easier to dogpile someone online when you don't see their face. Milgram's experiment warns us that the most dangerous people aren't always the villains in movies. They are the ordinary people who do their jobs without asking why. So the next time you're told to just follow the process, remember the 65%. Remember that your moral responsibility belongs to you and no one else.